let me finish. That's our past. We all have one. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's without flaw. I'm certainly not.
And I was going to talk to you about it. It was just more of a concern. Like, I'm like, well, that's not king behavior. So my question was, is he still like?
No, sis, you know you're lying. Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Listen, I missed obviously episode 2, so I'm gonna do episode 2 and 3 together. Wanted to say this very quickly. I think watching episode 2 and 3 is quite interesting. Seeing how Lexi behaved. First of all, she crashed out. I'm just going to be honest with you, she crashed out. And actually, a lot of people do this where they sabotage the situation, right? You saw that he had a better connection with Janae, and instead of actually taking some time, resting, just kind of allowing yourself to, you know, get to a place where, you know, you can connect with him, instead of working on a plan to connect with him, you decided to sabotage. That's what you actually went for. You went to sabotage the situation. So, sis, we're gonna have to talk about that. All right. Now, I want to quickly talk also about Tyson Beckford as well, his behavior. Tyson Beckford also is replacing emotional intimacy, I feel, with him being touchy-feely. Okay. And in 2 or 3 episodes, the touchy-feeliness, especially with Liliana, like Liliana has allowed him to get so physical with him. And then he did the exact same thing with, I think, was it Briar, whatever her name was, whatever. And a couple of the other girls by episode 3. And I said, okay, I can see what Tyson Beckford's issue is. He talks a good game. He talks about how he wants to make you, you know, how he wants to be emotionally stimulated, be with you, etc. But there's a lot of physicality with Tyson Beckford, which tells me you a runner, you a track star, you will run away when it gets hard. And that note was off, but don't worry about that. But yeah, so I saw it with Tyson Beckford too. I actually think Carlos is probably in a better position than all the boys. But what I would say about Carlos is I wonder if he can slow down if he needs to. Right now, I don't really have much concerns about Carlos in the last 2 episodes. But what I would say is that I hope he can slow down when he needs to. Because he's somebody who likes somebody. When he likes them, he's all in. And that's great because Janae's all in as well. But do you need to slow it down at certain points to be able to really smell the roses, understand what's going on in that situation? We'll have to find out, of course, in the next few episodes. Then we obviously have Titus. I like Titus. I had a great conversation with Dr. Shawanda where he apologized for calling her aggressive, was not defensive. He was open about it. He made sure he connected in that moment. But by episode 3, Dr. Shawanda is by the wayside. And we actually seen a different Dr. Shawanda. When other girls have been as aggressive as she was in the beginning, all of a sudden she wants to take her foot off the pedal and she steps back. The very thing we said that Jasmine should have done in the very first episode as well. So couple things that we want to definitely tap into on this review and hopefully break it down a bit more. I'm going to focus more on the Lexi and Tyson Beckford majority on this episode breakdown as well. But if you're new here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads. Appreciate you. Stay locked to as well. Oh, by the way, listen, I've got this lovely hoodie by AKENLUXE. So you can see here, there is a link in my description box. But this, I can't lie to you, the hoodie's cold. I don't like really promoting many people's brands, as you already know. I've got my own, so I do my own thing. But when I feel something nice, shout out to AKENLUXE. I can't lie to you. The feeling of this is beautiful. And so I'm actually really happy about it. So if you're somebody who loves a good hoodie, I know it's summertime right now, but listen, you have to get yourself ready for the winter time. It's coming around the corner real quick. And make sure you grab yours with a link down below as well. Okay. Grab your hoodies down below. Okay. All right, cool. So I want to get into this review because I think it's a really good conversation to have as well. So let's just focus on this Lexi thing first and foremost, right? The Lexi beef.
What would have been cool was if when you did that, instead of trying to talk to everybody around the house, is to come talk to me. You went the opposite way, which is extremely toxic. And nobody wants that. Like, that's really...
Okay, so Lexi decided that she wanted to find out information about Carlos because really and truly what was the issue was she was losing ground. No, let's keep it a buck. Lexi, you were losing ground to Janae. Janae was beating your ass in the competition. He seemingly preferred Janae, and because of that, you decided you were going to blow up the set. You're going to find out information about Carlos and find out that he cheated in the past. And then you were going to bring it up to the girls to be like, question, oh, are we sure we really want Carlos? Because really and truly, he's been a cheater in the past. Rather than actually just being truthful and going to have a conversation with Carlos directly and say, hey, look, I've done some research. I want to be able to understand a bit more. I'm not here to judge you. The information I saw, it seems like you cheated in the past. And I wanted to be able to understand where that's coming from. Instead of you going to him to have that conversation, she was afraid of confrontation, number 1. Number 2, she was afraid to be called out. Number 3, she's afraid to be accountable. Okay. And so all of that played a role in her being kind of backstabby-ish while she went to the other girls to kind of disseminate information to kind of ward them off him in a sense. And that for me just says, that you're lacking the ability to be able to hold true to your own to be accountable for your own decisions, right? You decided to go and find out this information. The girls didn't need to know. You could have gone and had a conversation with Carlos. You can't now be vexed that now you're getting called out and you're getting pulled aside because of the fact that you did this thing. Now, she let us know several times that she wasn't necessarily, I would like to say, emotionally regulated, right? Because she told us, obviously, she got a potty mouth, and when she gets angry, she lets people know. And I was like, babe, why would you get to a place where you need to let people know? What's the reasoning behind that? So, first and foremost, let's break it down. Lexi being emotionally driven in her action. She chose a position to expose Carlos because she was emotional about the fact that she wasn't chosen. She probably felt likely there's a wound there, probably felt like she was being dismissed, probably felt like she wasn't being made to feel special. And that triggered a wound in her that went her to go and find out this information. And then what she ended up doing is she ended up then disseminating that information and then causing issues with the ladies. But what she didn't bank on, or maybe she did bank on it, who knows? Janae, who had a really good connection with Carlos, actually went and told Carlos. And you notice a difference in conversation between Carlos and Janae, because Janae approached it in a way of like, hey, I want to be able to understand what this was. I've got triggers around this, but I want to understand where you're coming from. Let's have a look at this, right? And you'll see the conversational stance.
The man that sits before you is a different man.
How was that? You know, Lexi had brought it to my attention. She was Googling you. And
of course, all of it is public information. So you're actually right. It is public information. It's just the way that you go about it, though, right? You may have good intentions, but the way you go about it could end up becoming really, really bad, right? And I feel like that's what Lexi did in the situation, okay? And her lack of transparency and being open with Carlos actually is what cost her and made her even be more disliked, in a sense. And instead of actually owning it to stay, she said, I'm going to be off the show. I'm going to leave. I'm going to get out of here. Well, babe, really and truly what you're doing is you're defending yourself and trying to protect yourself from actually being hurt. Instead of you actually addressing the issue, going to Carlos, having a conversation, and then, you know what, letting him respond appropriately, you're probably going to get called out a little bit. And then you just say, hey, look, my bad. I was a little bit afraid. I was a little bit scared. You know, I saw the connection between you and Janae, and, I panicked. That's the real truth, right? And of course, you can't say all of that, but you can be honest about the fact that you did research him and you are bringing this information to his attention. But when we're not willing to be honest, when we're not willing to be vulnerable, when we're not willing to be transparent, when we're not willing to actually put ourselves in an uncomfortable position to be able to have a real conversation and build an emotional connection and a bridge with the person, we tend to use passive aggressive means, going behind people's backs, disseminating gossip, saying things that don't need to be said. And what ends up happening is we distort relationships by doing this. We destroy connections in this way. And actually Lexi lost out in the end because she actually didn't have the maturity emotionally to go and have a conversation. Okay. All right. So once Carlos learns about this, she's kind of triggered by the exposure, right? And for her leaving, she lacked accountability. The emotional regulation's also suffering because she's talking about how she's going to have to, if she gets mad, she's going to say something. And I was just like, okay, we need to grow up. We need to grow up. We need to be able to be more mature emotionally. And the reason why these things kind of happen is because when people have not done the work emotionally, like gaining emotional safety, which is the ability to be able to discuss and say how you feel without there being a fear of punishment, retribution, shame, embarrassment, guilt. And those things can be internal as well as external. The fears we have can be from internal rather than just being external. And in this case, I really do feel like with Lexi, she was afraid internally. Her own fears about her own judgments about herself were impending on the reason why she had to go the route that she did in terms of snitching and then telling other girls, right? It wasn't a safe place for herself, okay? And because she saw, obviously, Janae being so close with Carlos, she probably felt like she maybe couldn't tell all the ladies. But again, that would have required her to be vulnerable, okay? For me personally, when you're indirect in your communication and you do stuff like this puts more pressure on you because now you're not telling the truth of what you actually want. So when I'm talking to my clients, what I'm trying to get them to understand is you're in control of your relationship, not them. They are in control of their relationship from their end. When it comes to your feelings, only you are responsible. So you have to be accountable and responsible for how you are going to communicate how you feel. They may have done something that may have triggered you and made you feel some type of way, but it's on you to then communicate with that person. Say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's going through my mind. This is what's affecting me right now. That's on you, no one else. And so you can't push it off onto somebody else. We can't project. We have to honor through truth how we're feeling. For instance, when it comes to Lexi, the truth would have been, hey, I won't lie to you. I am feeling some type of way. You know, I've seen you and Janae have a really close connection. I want to have the same connection with you as well. I want to have a bit more time with you as well. How can we, what can we do to get more quality time? You know, I would love to spend that time with you, right? And so that's what should have been coming out of my mouth. That's a more secure position. But instead, she made a judgment because of her insecurity, and then her judgment led to an action, and her action was not coincided with actually what the end result she wanted. She wanted more time with him. She wanted more connection with him. And in the end, she went the opposite way. And this happens in relationships all the time, because when you're looking for an end result and you realize you don't get the end result, you must work backwards to find out why we didn't get that end result. If you want your partner to understand you and the conversation ends up in you being an argument and not an understanding, work that conversation backwards and find out why is it that the conversation went left, and really hold yourself accountable as well as the other person, and look at the actions and the inputs that you put in order to get that end result. Is it the way you said it? Is it the way that you communicated it? Is it the way that you delivered it? Is it the tone? What is it? The words choice? How is it that you delivered it? Because that probably has affected what you're wanted as an end goal. If the end goal is not matching your expectations and it's incongruent, look backwards before you go all the way forwards as well. Okay, let's leave the Lexi thing alone. I think we said enough about that aspect as well. I do want to say to you about Carlos and Janae though, because they are locked in. I can't lie to you. Carlos and Janae, they locked in.
I definitely was like a little concerned,
For sure.
you know?
Yeah, for sure.
She was kind of really trying to make it seem like you were this not great person.
You can read about me all you want.
Okay, so Carlos and Janae, right? They are a couple who, let's be honest, he's already locked in, bro. He ain't trying to go for no one else. He tried to open himself up in episode 3, but it weren't happening, okay? Him and Janae are locked in. And that's nothing necessarily wrong with that again. I had my only inclination against him locking in that early was to say, is he rushing it? Because he said in the past he's had great connections with people and he's rushed it. That was the only thing. It's not necessarily a red flag. It's more of a precautionary tale. And if you're somebody who's dating, I said this last night when we was doing a live, I was saying that when we are dating, the one thing that you want to be able to do is control the pace of your connection. If you don't feel like you can control the pace of your connection, stop. Let me say it one more time. If you don't feel like you can control the pace of your connection, stop. The reason being is because everybody should be able to have an ability to control the pace of the relationship. I.e., we can ask to speed it up, but really and truly, the only ones you have control over really is to slow it down. You could speed it up, but the other person may say it's too quick. The only thing that you have really control over is slowing it really down, right? That you have the input in. But you can always ask, hey, can we look at this thing, or can we look at that? Can we have more kisses? Can we hold hands more? Is it okay if we, go to the movies together, right? You asking for what you want is not a problem. The pace of the relationship, though, should always be controlled. We don't want it to free flow and go, and go out of your control, and it's just spiraling. Because at that point, then you feel powerless and helpless. And whenever you feel powerless and helpless in a relationship, that always leads to really bad outcomes with you. So if you're having bad outcomes with men or women, the reality of the situation is you have control of the pace of the relationship. Just because they said they love you does not mean you have to say I love you back. Just because they say they like you doesn't mean you have to like them back. What you need to do is analyze, how do I feel? Now, when I'm looking at Carlos and I'm looking at Janae, we know that there's a mutual interest, there's mutual attraction, they like each other. It's boom, bash, and bosh. It's settled already. They like each other. And I'm not mad at it. I think it's great. The next step, though, to look at is that, is it going at the pace that we want? Is it going too quickly? Is it going too slowly? Let's look at that schematics. And for Carlos and Janae right now, it seems to be working at the pace that it's going at really, really well. and their intimacy seems to be really good as well. They're always having conversations. They seemingly are laughing. They're keeping it light, but also going deep. They have questions about their past. They have questions about their present. And, you know, they haven't really spoken much about the future as such, but they have discussed about maybe what if they want kids or they want to get married. That was some of the future discussions they had. And that was light again because they didn't want to put pressure on it. It was a good way of having small talk, but then also going deep. And so whenever you are dating someone, you have control over the pace. If they start saying things like, I really, really like you, and it feels like a lot of pressure, just be honest. Hey, can I be honest with you? I do like you. Well, I want to make sure that we're going at the right kind of pace for me. I've done it in the past where I've gone too quickly and I've not been able to assess and really find out if the person is for me. And so what I want to do is make sure that we're slowing it down a little bit and just making sure we're going at a pace that works for me. Is that okay? Boom. Right? We say those things because we want to, first and foremost, you have every right to. Number two, because also you need to let the other person know rather than doing passive aggressive movements where you're like, okay, let's say the person says, let's go out. And then you don't call them or text them, you ghost them for 3 days because you feel like they're getting too close to you. Well, you probably need to have a conversation about that so that you don't leave them in a lurch and in the dark. You know what I'm saying to you? Right? It's all important. Again, once more, I'll let you guys know this. I'm wearing some AKENLUXE stuff here. Really love I can't lie to you, I love the thread, man. And I said I'll promote them on my channel because I really love great you know, great stuff that's on there. And I looked at their stuff online, very, very nice. Well, so if you haven't already got some, go and grab yours as well. Okay, all right, cool. So let's get to the next one. Let's go to the next section I want to focus on. It's probably more on episode 3. And it is to do with Tyson Beckford. But actually, yeah, Tyson Beckford. Let me see if I can get this. Because Tyson Beckford was doing the most on that episode, boy. He was being touched up, felt up everywhere. And I said, brother, if you don't slow the heck down, hold on now. Here we go.
Dated a well-known singer, and that situation, the other women, all the stuff was very traumatic for me. I like Tyson, but I also feel like when I see
probably wrong clip, but I'll put another clip in a second too. So Tyson Beckford actually towards the end of this episode, in fact throughout the whole episode actually, saying that he and I noticed in the very first episode, I think I mentioned this, how he was touching Liliana. And he had his arm around her waist, on her thigh. And again, he's been doing it this episode where he's been very touchy-feely, allowing the ladies to kind of like be in his space. They were all up in his ear. Some people were licking his ear today. You know, very, very sexual energy. And I feel like that's what Tyson likes. You know what I mean? That's what Tyson wants. He wants that sexual energy, that sexual behavior. And I think that's because as much as I think Tyson can be a deep person, I think that at points in time, he's afraid of having deep conversations. He was meant to have a conversation with Liliana about the situation. And instead of addressing it as to why she's in the bottom once more again, he fumbled. He's like, oh, let's not talk about it right now. And I said, okay, Tyson, we're doing it all over again. You are replacing real intimacy with false intimacy by being physically connected to these ladies. You're not actually connecting to them. And maybe that's been your biggest problem because, of course, we know his background. He ran the streets for a little while. You know, he grew up in a particular environment. He was a b-boy, I think he said himself. Like, so maybe he hasn't grown up maturely, emotionally as of yet. He seems like an emotionally sound person. But when you see him with the ladies, the insatiable hunger comes right back. The lack of self-control in the sense of him always wanting the attention and feeling for that attention. And so I feel like with Tyson Beckford, he needs to learn how to allow his emotional connection to dominate rather than the physical. That's his problem, right? And that tells us about the deep emotional wounds he may have.
I'm just like,
I agree.
I agree. Here again.
The last few days were really good.
Yeah.
You know?
So obviously he was talking to Liliana and he was talking to Liliana and he was talking about the situation. And I recognize again once more that Tyson doesn't really deal well with the emotional components of a conversation. Seemingly, again, because of course we haven't got enough information, but seemingly. And he loves the allure of having several women around him women all over him. He mentioned even to Sarah that, you know, women and men flirt with him. I said, wait, hold on a minute. It's very rare to hear a man say that even men flirt with me. That just let me know. And I don't think he's gay. I don't think he's bi or anything like that, but he takes pride in people flirting with him. He takes pride in people giving him attention. He takes pride in women wanting and running after him. He knows who he is. He's Tyson Beckford. But the problem with that is it's also going to stop you from settling down. The problem is that going to stop you from finding a real one who can be the one for you, because your ego is inflated because you believe you're the prize. And listen, don't get twisted. He pretty much is the prize. But what I'm saying to you in the sense of there is no, it almost feels like there's no humility in the area of dating, because it's like no one's going to ever be good enough. No one's going to ever make you want to settle. No one's going to ever make you feel like, you know what, they're going to be the one, because Tyson's always going to be the one that you have to chase for. And if you're consistently chasing him, you're never going to catch him. Best believe that. You ain't going to catch him. So for me, when I'm looking at Tyson, you know, of course, being as good looking he is, I feel like he missed that emotional component.
They're really good. So, you know.
Yeah. He a whole problem. Can't lie to you. He a whole problem. And it was so funny because obviously that there was a part where, like I said, they were sitting down. They were sitting down and all his 3 dates came pretty much and sat on his lap and they were all on him. And I was like, okay, Tyson, wrap this up by tomorrow, brother. Wrap it up. I was like, why do you want all the ladies all over you? And you remember, you really lost Brickell. And I'm not even mad that you lost Brickell, because Brickell had to go, right? Brickell believed that she had access to him because she knew him. And that made her feel like she had more of a hand on him. But the reality was, baby girl, this was a competition. There are going to be other ladies who are going to be fighting for his time. And even though you may have known Tyson Beckford before, you don't know Tyson Beckford. And so I think she clocked it that she didn't have the pull or didn't have Tyson Beckford wrapped around her finger. I'm not even saying that in a bad way, but she didn't have that gravitas that she may have thought she might have had with Tyson. Tyson's a free bird, boy. He gonna do what he gonna do. And I feel like with Brickell, she left because, again, I think false expectations. And I think maybe for her too, maybe she recognized and realized this wasn't going to end well. He's going to have multiple women. He's going to choose somebody and it might not be her. And it might not have been. But you decided to enter the competition knowing there might be other women, I was assuming, right? So I saw Tyson again. I was like, okay, Tyson, let's hopefully you can actually, I think progress for Tyson this season would be starting to learn to emotionally connect. Going and doing skydiving is great. It's amazing. It's a wonderful thing to do. But we have to make sure we're balancing that with getting to know people on a deep emotional core. You know, deep emotional core. It's okay to play, but we've got to know when to hang it up. It's okay to play. We just got to know when to hang it up. And we got to know that if we do hang it up, we have the skills required to also keep a relationship going. Because the hard conversations, he struggles to do it. Now, there's several funny things that happen as well. There was a conversation with him and Kat, and I said, oh, he don't like Kat like that. Brother was standing over Kat, like, yo, talking to her from a distance. I said, that brother, he don't want to catch a case of Kat, you know. But yeah, let me leave it there. Then I want to quickly deal with Titus as well, because the Dr. Shawanda situation was interesting. Dr. Shawanda literally dropped off when she recognized that the other ladies might have access to him. And all that aggression and aggressiveness that she had went out the window. I was like, Dr. Shawanda, I thought you were going to be aggressive. I thought you were going to be going for what you want. Sorry, not aggressive. Assertive. I thought you were going to be going for what you want. Why are we backing up? Why are we backing up? But we'll get there. Look at this. I just wanted to show you this. This aspect I want to show you about Tyson. This is what I was saying. Look at this.
Please, so we can all make
No,
room.
you come here, baby. Your problem.
Okay.
Well, let me come over there before somebody else comes in.
Now, Tyson wants a harem. This ain't the show for him. Tyson wants a threesome, a harem. He wants all the ladies to himself. Bro ain't interested in finding the one and settling down, because none of his movements have been anything but settling down. Both Titus and Carlos have shown us more restraint in the area of going towards settling down. We haven't seen that from Titus. He is 50 years old and still behaving like a true player. Fine if you want to continue that way, but bro, life is short. You could be here today, gone tomorrow. You may feel like you're loving, maybe you feel like you love it. You're gonna find out. You're gonna find out. It always happens to a lot of people. Sometimes they learn a little bit later on. You're gonna find out. No matter how fine you are, you're gonna need an emotional connection. You can't only use a woman for sex for so long. But that's my perspective anyway. And then let's let me get to Titus. Okay, so Titus. All right, so Titus date with Bree.
So fast. And I'm like,
It's simple, just like bowling. First one to knock all the pins down wins.
Okay, so Titus situation is really interesting as well, because I feel like Titus is open to trying to explore more. He's not locking himself away, but he's a very, very gentle soul and having real conversations. I find him to be very mature. Like, I've seen very few men on any TV show that have shown a level of maturity that Titus has shown so far. We're only 3 episodes in. People can embarrass me, but within 3 episodes, he's shown me a level of maturity. The way he's handled the white woman in the first episode, the way he handled Dr. Shawanda with the aggressiveness and apologized and says sorry. And even in this episode here, you know, playful, fun, you know, enjoyable, nice to be around, never speaking out of turn or behaving inappropriately or wildly, not trying to draw in women sexually per se, although he did have the first date where he did the paint one. But again, that was still pretty much within the lines and limits that I felt was pretty decent. But what's interesting is that with this episode and Titus, there was a moment where I said, oh my God, this brother does not like this woman one bit. He broed her. Let me show you. I want to show you the part. I hope I get the right clip. He broed her so hard. Like, Titus broed Brianna so bad. Like, they were talking and he said, listen, you're the only lady I can put my hand on their shoulder. I said, bro, that is not you saying that you want her. That is you saying, basically, you're not on it like that, bro. You pretty much brother zoned her by putting your hand on her shoulder. I said, oh, no, sir. Come on. Don't do that unless you really want to just be a friend. But then again, I think he's trying to say he's a friend. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
all right, okay.
Carlos had told me, he's like, hey man, you might want to take Brianna on a date.
He's actually really sophisticated.
Now, obviously, I think, again, Titus is very respectful, but I want to be honest with you. A brother put a hand on a shoulder on a lady like that. That's a sister-brother relationship. That brother just friend zoned her, brother zoned her, sister zoned her, and sent her to the nether regions of that zone. Like, don't come back. You know what I mean? He had fun with her, yeah, but I've never seen him put his hand on someone's shoulder like that. You know? I've never seen that. The fact that he did that was such a bro zone kind of thing. Like, you put your hand on someone's shoulder like a brother. You know? And she knew it too. She tried to call it out, but it was
really smart.
way too gone.
Like, I think she might be really good for that.
Oh, you already pawning her off?
You were matchmaker then.
My brother said, damn. Not him forcing Brianna onto Titus. But I actually do think that they match intellectually. He's just not attracted like that. Titus just not attracted to that. Again, I think because, and again, it could be her height, it could be whatever it was. But for him, he wasn't interested in her. But again, I never saw anything disrespectful. He played with her. He had fun. They won the game together. And we just saw, again, a respectful dialogue and respectful interaction that didn't lead me to think, oh, my God, Titus is such a brute. No, he's very much a gentleman, you know? So I'm enjoying the episode. I'm enjoying seeing what's going on with these episodes, you know? The ladies obviously crashed out. We saw Lexi and Brokel crash out. I'm sure some more come out. Now, the girls had an interesting situation. Last one. The girls had a situation. There was a pool party fight, which I don't know what was going on, bro. I don't know how we got there, but this fight here didn't even make sense.
Man. Like, right? So let's work on our shit together. Oh God.
Okay, so the beef between, I think, is it Darai and Sarah? Or Darai and Sarah. Now, what was interesting is that this fight was born out of, I don't know what. It was born out of the fact that Sarah was complaining about attitude or whatever it was, right? And I was just like, okay. And then the attitude got given back, and then before I knew it, there's a beef. I'm like, bro, what's going on, bro? I was like, how do we even get here?
I think you're the only person who's ever given me attitude.
Yeah, I think that I'm the only person giving you attitude.
I was like, wait, hold on, I'm gonna go.
Felt like I came in with girls I really liked, so I felt like I didn't need to like interact with girls that had attitude because it's just.
I said, damn. It's political out here, you know. To see how that like Sarah tried it. Let's be honest. I'm not here to defend a black woman like that, and just because she's black. But Sarah tried it, because why are you indirectly subbing me? Just you know what I'm saying to you? Be direct. Don't indirectly sub me. Like, I've come here with girls that I like. Be direct. Stop being indirect. Be direct and tell the truth. I feel I came here with friends and darling, just be direct and tell me the truth. If you feel I have a problem with you, just say it. You know what I mean?
Like,
girls had attitudes. Yeah,
there was a lot of attitude when first got
I
here.
also think that like
Way more
I
attitude
will
than you.
say,
I don't
Damn. Old girl was like, listen, more attitude than you? Oh, you tripping. Oh, you tripping. You got more attitude than everybody else here. I said, oh, damn. I said, well, you know what? It's an interesting situation. Darla said, oh, that's a question, you know. Alive on attitude. I'm curious to hear your take as a black man, what you think about the concept of attitude, good and bad, especially for black women. Wow. Okay, I think, do you know what it is, though? So attitude isn't a problem until it crosses the line of respect for that man. That's actually the biggest aspect. Like, for instance, your girl could have an attitude, but she knows not to ever cross the line with you. Like, she never disrespects you. She has an attitude, but she doesn't disrespect you. I think most men can deal with that, because the most important thing is not your attitude, it's your respect for me. When the attitude leads to actions that begin to cross a line of respect for the man, that's where we have a problem. You get what I'm saying to you? And I think that's the biggest issue for a lot of men. I think that's what the biggest issue is. So yeah, I think when it comes to attitude, that's the biggest issue. Like, I don't mind it. I'm just always thinking to myself that I just don't want to, as long as it's not hitting me, as long as it's not coming over to me, and you're not being disrespectful to me. And if you've got an attitude, it's not to a point where you're completely disrespectful to other people, because that always involves me anyway. Because somehow, some way, you'll get roped in. You know what I'm saying to you? Whether it's her getting emotional or being annoyed or whatever. So attitude really isn't a problem per se. It's until the actions start to come into play where there's going to be beef. If you're contentious, if you are, someone who is, combative, somebody who likes an argument. I mean, for both men and women, to be honest, but let's just say for the ladies, it's harder to want to be around that, because you know that you're going to always be in something silly. Whether it's her emotions are going to be flared up, whether she's going to be pissed off, whether there's going to be a fight between her and someone else. You just don't want that level of energy. But I don't think necessarily attitude is a bad thing like that, I think when men are actually saying that they have bad attitudes, what they're really saying is they don't have respect for black men. I think that's what they're really saying, because the attitude, a lot of times when I think that's what ends up happening is that, that you see how, I think, I'll say it again. So I think the real issue is really how that corresponds to respect. That's simply being it. And of course, the more pretty you are, the more you probably can get away with, until you meet more pretty men, or so more good-looking men who have more options, right? The more options that man has, the less he's going to take of that attitude. But then the more pretty you are, and the more the man isn't on your level, the more he might likely take more of your attitude. Again, all depends on levels as well. But yeah, you're right. So yes, men will complain about the attitude, but it's because what they're really saying is not attitude. They're talking about you don't have respect for me. That's different. You know what I mean? So I think the men are even using that word wrong. I think the men are using using that word incorrectly. You know what I'm saying to you? I personally don't like. Yeah, I love this. Thank you. That's a good point. I don't like this aspect: disagreeable, contemptuous, disrespectful, cantankerous. I don't like any of those behaviors. I don't like rudeness. I don't like that disrespectful behavior. I don't like people being overly loud to a point where they are disruptive. I don't like those kind of things. You know, I don't like people. I don't even like swearing like that too tough either. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's some things I don't like, but that's me as a man again. And I think it'll go back to the same point I said before for the third time. How does that impact me? You know what I mean? How does that impact me? How does that come on to me? How do I have to deal with it when it comes to you? Are you that way? Like I said, I've said this for most men. You shouldn't be picking any woman that doesn't follow your lead. Why would you waste your time? Don't waste your time. And no lady should be picking a man that she doesn't feel comfortable being led by. Don't waste your time. Don't come and make it an argument. Don't come and make it a soliloquy, a monologue about that man. And men don't come and make a monologue about that girl. Or women don't follow. No. The woman that you've chosen doesn't follow you. Choose another one. Oh, men don't know how to lead. Choose another one, sis, because you're choosing the wrong type of men. You know what I mean? Same for men and women in this situation. They'll be complaining about they don't follow well. They don't lead well. Yeah, you're choosing bad people, folks. Time to change it up. You know, change it up. But let me leave this, because I've got another live I need to do it as well for you guys in a few minutes. So I'm going to love you and leave you guys, because I don't want to be too long. But I've got another live I'm going to do for you guys probably in the next, 15 minutes. A deep dive on a particular video talking about a young lady who was talking about she had a perfect marriage, but she wants to divorce her husband now after 10 years. So, yeah, we're going to definitely talk about that in about 15 minutes as well. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification uploads. We'll be back. And if you have not decided to join us on the membership, it's a members live only. Sorry. If you have not got a membership, it's £1 or $1. You're not going to be part of the live. It's that simple. Sorry.